Another lovely afternoon to be out riding around. Just heading out to get some groceries, so I thought I'd take the bike for a run, have some lunch in the bush, and just generally get out of the house for a little while. All my sidecar monkeys have piked out on me. Let's start with a bit of background. I'm going to do a bit of a quick review, a 2,000 kilometre review, because we've just hit 2,067, so 2,068 kilometres on the Ural. So a quick background, the Ural is my fourth bike. So one was the Dominator, two was the KTM, and three is the Tenere, and I still have the mighty Tenere. So can't bear to part with it, can't afford to keep it. So at the moment I still have the Tenere. So the Ural's my fourth bike. So I don't have that much experience, 15 years of riding. So bear in mind that I have no idea what I'm talking about. A little bit of knowledge can be dangerous. And I'm not that mechanically minded, although you wouldn't buy a Ural unless you were mechanically minded or you had a good service centre, a good bike mechanic you knew to look on it, work on it for you. So I've intended to do most of the work on the Ural myself. I don't really trust bike shops and bike mechanics that much, no offence, but I don't think. Anyway, that's another point altogether. So a quick review. So let's go through, because I get asked a lot of questions about the Ural when I stop. The Ural delay factor is a real thing. People are curious about what the bike is. What's that? You don't see sidecars very often. What's a Ural, and so on. So everybody's genuinely curious about the Ural, because you don't see many of them, not around this area anyway. And if someone's a bike rider, they ask me a few questions. The usual same sort of questions get asked all the time by people interested in Urals, interested in sidecars and so on. So this is just from a newbie's point of view. So take everything with a grain of salt. It's just my opinion and my experience so far. So as a new Ural owner and a relatively inexperienced motorbike rider, well, compared to people I know, that I've been around a bit, but I'm no boy racer, I'm no speed demon, I'm no crusty demon, I'm no Toby Price, that's for sure. I just like to plod along and explore. So let's go through the first 100 kilometres. Let's start there. So I picked the bike up from the dealer. Luckily it was in like a quiet country location, and I put all my gear on, jumped on, never been on a sidecar before, rode out the gate onto the main road and thought, my God, what have I done? It is that different. And the first 100 kilometres riding home, we stopped at a pub for lunch on the way home. Worked out how to put the bike into reverse and all that sort of thing in the car park of the pub, so that was all good. So the first 100 kilometres is a bit off-putting. Some people do courses and so on. I'm more of a jump in and have a go type person. So everything I've done, I've just jump on, have a go, see what happens. That's the best way to learn, as long as you don't kill yourself. So the first 100 kilometres expected to be very different, I'd say. And if you're a bit worried, you can go and do a course, but I say just jump on and go. Just take it easy. Just take it very easy and be careful on the corners and you'll be fine. You'll get used to it. So after I got home, then I spent the next few days riding as much as I could. Got up to about 500 kilometres pretty quickly, and while I wasn't an expert, it got a bit easier. You can take the corners a bit faster and so on, just learning how to lean and how fast you can take each corner. Very tentative at first, but then you get used to it, so there's no dramas. And then I was supposed to take the bike at 1,000 kilometres to my dealer's service guy, but it's a bit too far away, and I thought I could just do this myself. It's just an oil change. So at about 720 kilometres, I did the first service myself, and it was easy. Once there's lots of videos, I got lots of help from people on different forums, the Ural Australia forum, Soviet Steeds, Ural Junkies YouTube channel. He helped me out a lot, finding top dead centre when I was adjusting the valves and so on. So these things I'd never done before, never adjusted the valves on any bike. I know the theory of it, it's just a bit fiddly on other bikes, but on the Ural, it's very easy. If you've got a little bit of, on the tools, you'll be okay. So I did the first service, changed the oil in the final drive, the gearbox, and the main motor. Different oil for the gearbox and the final drive, and you learn all about that. The final drive was spurting a bit of oil. That was a bit of a problem, but I realised that it probably had too much oil in it. This 2020 model only needs 90 mil of oil in the final drive, so that was a learning curve. Doesn't seem like much oil, but I think Ural worked out that if you put any more in it, like the 120 mil, anything above the 90 mil gets spurted out the overflow, the breather. So sorted all that out, and no other real issues. I pulled every wheel off and fiddled around with the sidecar brake because it wasn't engaging on one side, but these just general little tooling, teething problems and so on. So up to 2,000 now. I've added a few extras, a few optional extras for myself, and we'll go through those in a minute. I'm just going into my little track, and I'll put the other camera on. Okay, so we've come through the bush here, and we're going to stop and have some lunch at this quiet spot. Think about what else we'll put in our review. Anyway, the bike's unreal. I highly recommend you getting one, and I'll talk about some of the other bits and pieces. Okay, so modifications I've made. When I first ordered the bike, the first thing I wanted was the screen. So I got the screen for the rider and a screen for the passenger. That seemed pretty obvious. And the other thing I wanted was the 2-in-1 exhaust. So I've got the GPR exhaust on there, which I think is great, but I can't compare it because I didn't have it with the other one on. It came with it on. I got it put on. Cost a bit, but I think it's worth it. Otherwise, I probably would have wiped out the Ural exhaust, standard exhaust already. So that is what I wanted when the bike came. It's only a one-wheel drive. I only wanted one-wheel drive after doing a lot of research. Next thing I did was put the GPS on, the GPS mount, and USB port, and Oxford over grips, heated over grips. They just velcro on around the normal hand grips, and the bark busters, I put those on, and the tire pressure sensors, so I can see it's got 4 tires, so that's from a car, so I put that on there. So there's some things I did there. I put USB port and so on in here. If I can turn it on, there you go. So USB port for the passenger, and cigarette lighter for the little compressor I carry anyway. So I did that, and then I lashed out and put these blinker guards on there, these extra guards, because I could see them getting wiped out, hitting a tree or something. And for a bit of fun, I put the stickers on there. Everyone laughs at those, but it's just a bit of fun. And then Yoda's on the side, so that's just cosmetic stuff. And so I did the first service myself, and that wasn't a drama. It was a bit hard getting in on this side next to the sidecar, but it's not too bad. I adjusted the lean out so it feels better for me. It was leaning out too far. That's another thing. One of my videos has got that on there. And I pulled each wheel off, put it back on again and fiddle around with the brakes. So I did that as well. And the sidecar brake was only engaging on one side, so I put a spacer in there so the sidecar brake is pulling on both sides of the disc now. I hope so. And the latest thing is I've got some other modifications, and the main thing I've been working on lately is the bash plate. So I've got the bash plate on here now, and I've put an extra bracket on it now, so there's an extra bracket on the front, so it's got 5 fixing points on it now, and it should protect it pretty well, and it's pretty solid now, so I'm pretty happy with that as well. So if anybody walks up here and sees me talking to myself in the bush, I'll probably get locked up. Now our kangaroo, or a wallaby, just went past there just before I started filming this, having my lunch. So there's the modifications. The other thing I've got is, whoops, I almost forgot, I've got a little rear bumper. I've got a rear bumper because I've got some scratches on the bumper here, and I've got the first aid kit's going to go on there with the rear bumper. So that's the next little modification. All right, so back to the review.
Recording.
Okay, so as I was saying, when I'm up to 2,000, there's lots of little modifications. You get your bike and you want to make your own little things, make things comfortable. The first thing I noticed was that the handlebar seemed like a long way forward. So I've added these bar risers. You won't be able to see them properly there, but I'll try and get a better video of them. So the first thing I added was these bar risers to split the bars up and set them back a little bit. The riding position became a lot more comfortable. So now I've got to walk back up this little hill here, and I came barreling down here over all these logs. I've got rid of some of them. Just going to make sure I can get back up here. Get rid of that piece maybe. Yeah, I can get that out of the way. No snakes under there. I've got my boots on. Yeah, I think we'll just come straight up here over this rock and around that way. That could be interesting. This is a good test for my new bash plate. Yeah, so I've got my new Max tracks in the sidecar as well, but that'll be for another video. I need one of my sidecar monkeys to help me with that one. And we'll go down the bottom. Oh, I've got my blinker on. There I am, riding along. I've had my blinker on for the whole trail. Whinging about what's going on in the world. There was a big branch across the trail there the other day, but somebody has conveniently run over it for me in their four-wheel drive. So back to my 2,083 kilometres I've done now on the Ural. So a quick review for anyone thinking about going from 2 wheels to 3 wheels. I've been out on the Tenere a few times lately just to charge the battery up, make sure everything's still okay. So I've gone from 2 wheels to 3 wheels. The decision was sort of made for me. health-wise, because I'm a bit afraid that if I dropped the mighty Tenere in the bush, I wouldn't be able to pick it up. So health reasons are why you might go to 3 wheels, but not everybody. I don't think anybody starts out their motorcycling career in a sidecar. I don't know. There might be exceptions to that, but most of us go from 2 wheels to 3 wheels, I reckon. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you've only ridden sidecars. So the Tenere, very heavy and falls very flat. So I used to be able to pick it up, no dramas. I probably could now, but I might do myself an injury, not as fit as I used to be. So that's my reason. But other reasons, you might want to carry more gear. You might want to carry your significant other, a mate, a wife, girlfriend, whatever, in the sidecar, or a dog. I'm going to try and get one of my dogs in the sidecar. I think Buddy would like it, but I'll have to make a nice platform for him there, remove the seat. If he knew we were going to the bush in the sidecar, he wouldn't get out of it. He loves his bush walks. So you can carry more gear. There's lots of reasons. If you want to get a sidecar, don't hesitate. Go and get one. You won't regret it. Anyway, that's my first 2,000 kilometre review, and why would you buy a sidecar? I've been recording videos trying to think of 101 reasons to buy a sidecar. I keep coming up with more and more, but they all refer back to rule number 1, which is it's great fun. You always have fun on a sidecar. And the other things that go with it, especially with the Ural around here, there's no Urals around here that I've seen, not locally. So everyone sort of stops you and says, "Hey, what's that?" People pull you up. A bloke come in the back gate with his 4-wheel drive as I was putting the bike away, and he pulled up and said, "Oh," he asked me a lot of questions. And as I've stated, the main question is, what do they cruise at on the highway? I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but it's usually if the guy's a bike rider, he'll ask you, what do they cruise at on the highway? Everyone's worried about being slowed down on the highway. Well, you are a bit, I suppose, but I hate riding on the highway on my Tenere. And she can cruise on the highway easy, but I hate being on the highway. Back roads. Relax. Smell the roses. Someone's cut down a tree there by the look of it. Anyway, let's head off into the bush. Find my secret quiet spot to have a coffee and pretend the rest of the world doesn't exist for a little while.
Okay, well, thanks viewers. I think that's about it for now. I've waffled on enough, but hopefully it'll give you some ideas if you're thinking of going from 2 wheels to 3 wheels, and my 2,000 kilometre review. So thanks for watching. So we'll see you next time. Bye for now.